Hello, this video is for people who have purchased the Khorasan patterns. So there's a Khorasan hat and the Khorasan socks, and both of them have this little tiny cable pattern with a right twist to and a left twist to. So on the row 6 of both patterns, round 6 of both patterns, there is a point where you need to borrow the stitch, your first ever stitch for the round. So this is what I'm going to show you what you need to do. So for the left twist 2, we need to take these slip stitches that we've been doing to 2 stitches over, and they go in between these 2 stitches. So you're moving that across into here. Now for round 6, you need this stitch here to complete that manoeuvre, because you've got a slip stitch and just a knit one at the end of your round. So you're going to borrow this stitch. So we slip the first stitch over onto the right hand needle, so that when we come to the end of the round, we have that stitch to move your slip stitch in front of to finish the round. So we've slipped that stitch over. That's the very beginning of round 6. You slip that stitch over to the right hand needle, move it out of the way, and then we knit one, and then you either use a cable needle or just do it as I do, where you just lay it down. But you knock that slip stitch off or hold it in front, knit 2, and then you pick your slip stitch back up and knit it. So you've moved it in front of those 2 stitches, which is why we need to borrow that first ever stitch. So we knit this round. Now if you're working the sock on a double pointed needle, every time you get to the new needle, you're going to need to do the manoeuvre, because you should be set up with 4 stitches, like a multiple of 4 stitches across your needle. So whenever you get to the change of a new needle, you're only going to have 3, and you're going to need to borrow from your next needle. So what I would do is just put them on and slip that over, put them back to the working left hand needle, and then continue it. So just put that in front and knit across. This is really awkward to knit like this. Okay, so we carry on all the way around. So I'm just gonna speed this up and get around. Okay, so borrowing that very first stitch of the round just makes it so that you can then complete the left twist 2 on round 6, so that your work looks like there's no seaming. Now that's complete. Round 6 is complete. Now for round 1, you need to put that back, because your right twist 2 won't work. So we're just going to put it back. We've borrowed it and now we're giving it back. So we put it back to the start of round 1, but we've already worked it. So then we just continue on. So we would knit the next stitch. So you've knitted 2, because you've already knitted it on the end of that round 6. So you've knitted 2, slip 1, knit 1, and then we just continue. Knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, and we just go around. Now if you have got the DPNs again, you want to get those stitches back. So the repeat is knit 2, slip 1, knit 1. So when you finish that knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, you need to put these back over to the left hand needle, so that your setup is right for when you do your right twist. So yes, there is some stitch shuffling. With the hat you won't get that. You would only do that once at the beginning of round 6 and the beginning of round 1. You would move that, you'd borrow the stitch, you'd put it back. But obviously with DPNs you need to keep your stitch count right to make this work, because it's a cable, so you do need to make it right. So there will be stitch shuffling if you're using cable needles, DPNs, sorry. If you're using a magic loop, obviously that's going to make it a little bit more tricky, and you are going to have to keep flipping about. I would not recommend doing these socks 2 at a time, but it does state that in the pattern. I wouldn't do them 2 at a time because there is too much stitch shuffling, but it's to make the cable work. If you don't shuffle the stitches, because you're working in the round, the cable won't work, and the cable's beautiful, so you want it to work. So that is basically it. We are borrowing that stitch to make our cable complete, and then we give it back. So if you've got any questions, please let me know below, and I'll do my best to help. But hopefully that has helped if you're struggling with that part. Thanks for watching.